Hello, my name is Christin Davila, and this is video 1 for WST 460's midterm. And the topic that I will discuss today is the gendered body. Now, we will start by going into what gender is, and then talk about the societal and cultural impacts that affect gender, and how psychologically gender can be different for both men and women. So first we will start off by discussing what gender is. Gender is being male or female, theoretically. It is the description of characteristics that society and culture delineates as masculine or feminine. How gender is defined will vary drastically based upon an individual's background and their surrounding culture. One example of how your background and culture can have an impact on your gender is take for example Europeans versus Americans. In Europe, a male will wear capris, whereas in the United States they do not. Women wear them. So a cultural difference that delineates masculinity to femininity is that if a European was to come to the United States wearing capris, we as Americans would be judgmental in the aspect that we would assume by first impression when seeing that man wearing capris that it's a woman. However, that's the culture over in Europe, that is how men dress. So it's culturally accepted in Europe, and it's not culturally accepted, or rather it's not culturally practiced in the United States for Americans to dress that way. So now that we know that gender is based off of characteristics of society and culture, we'll take a look at the differences that other characteristics have on gender. This is such as how men and women differ in how they sit, how they stand, the different gestures that they give, how they walk, and even how they throw like a ball or a frisbee differently. Women will be very closed off in appearance. They will have their legs crossed, they will have their arm crossed, they will sit with a straight, proper posture. Women have the tendency to be what we call prim and proper. On the other hand, men will sit with their legs spread open. They will appear to be in a more relaxed, reclined position, even in a professional setting. So women also, when they stand, they will have more of a polite and welcoming persona that they give off. They will have their hands either crossed in front of them or behind their back, or they may even have their arms crossed. But a lot of the times they will not be flailing their hands, talking with their hands, that sort of thing. Whereas men, on the other hand, they will do just that, or they will have a tendency to stand with their hands in their pockets or on their hips. So those are a couple of differences when it comes to other characteristics besides just societal and cultural differences that define gender. There are feminist theorists that argue that gender is not only what's viewable on the outside of a person, but also what's embodied, meaning the physical and psychological part of who we are. This is not only something that can be passed on from generation to generation, but it is also something that is taught and learned versus passed on genetically. So there's an article that presents this theory that is called The Socially Constructed Body. It is an article of a 20-year-old male that was put in the position of becoming what we call in society the man of the house. His father left him and his mother at a young age, and therefore he felt he had to step up and fill that void and be that role of the male in the house. With being the man of the house, he felt that he needed to be big and strong, and that would come from a not only social aspect but also a cultural aspect, that there was a picture in his mind that his father was a big and muscular man, and that's what it took to be able to take care of your family. So him going to have to become this man of the house, he felt that he had to get out there, lift weights, do what it took to become this strong, dominant male in order to take care of his mother. So these are all ways in which society and gender will construct different genders and their roles. Now, members of societies construct their bodies in ways that comply with accepted views of masculinity and femininity. They identify gender as masculine and feminine, but there's also those individuals that don't necessarily identify gender, and what we call those is genderless. Now, many people ask themselves, how are you genderless? You're either a man or you're a woman, and is this even possible? Well, the answer is yes, and there's actually a story or an article titled "My Life Without Gender. Strangers are desperate to know what genitalia I have." This is about an individual that was raised as a boy, became a girl, and then decided to label as genderless. Now, obviously, being raised as a boy, that is your societal and cultural impacts. However, when becoming old enough, felt feminine desires and emotions, and therefore decided to take medication to become feminine. However, still had masculine genitalia, had masculine traits such as, body hair, those sorts of things. So throughout this article, it explains that you will be who you want to be. And in the end, just because you're a man or a woman doesn't mean that you have to display as such. If you choose that you want to wake up one day and put a mini skirt on and a halter top, then that's your choice. Gender is a choice, and it's not necessarily defined by what type of genitalia you have, whether you have a vagina or a penis. That is gender, yes. However, you have the option of being who you want to be.